Welcome to Techstination. Joining us is Cedar Anderson, co-inventor and CEO at Hive. Thank you for joining us, Cedar.
Thank you very much for having me.
What is Hive all about?
So basically it started from me running a small commercial apiary and finding it was an incredible amount of work and very disruptive for the bees to harvest the honey. And I thought there has to be a better way. So my dad and I spent a decade inventing a way where you can simply turn a handle on the hive and the honey flows straight out into your jar, ready for the table.
So you turn a spigot and that's pretty much all there is to harvesting honey?
It certainly has made the old process, which is taking those frames out, taking it to the shed. You have to get in your bee suit and your smoker and cut the wax capping off and then put it in this machine that spins the honey out of the frames, and then you've got to filter all the wax and dead bee bits out of that honey and then take those frames back to the hive again. It certainly shortcuts that process and makes it really a turn handle solution for harvesting honey.
Now, it sounds really amazing. You had one of the most successful crowdfunding campaigns ever to get this started. Tell me about that. This was a few years back.
That was actually mind-blowing because we put our first video online on Facebook and it got 1 million views in the first 30 hours. And we thought, wow, okay, the world's interested. And then a week later, we launched on crowdfunding. There were so many people pressing refresh that we crashed the Indiegogo platform several times. And then 2 hours later, we hit $1 million worth of pre-orders of our flow hives. And 8 weeks later, we had 12.2 million US. So it set a few records.
Really amazing. And now you're out with the Flow Hive 2. Tell us what's new, what's different here.
So the Flow Hive 2, we built in new features to respond to the amazing audience. We now have 75,000 flow hives from 130 different countries. So we just set our minds to making things easier. So from the ground up, we put little legs that are adjustable so you can get your hive on the perfect angle, and we actually built levels into the side of the hive. And then we've got a pest management tray that slides in and out to help people manage beetles and mites and things like that. And then we went the next level with just the knobs and things by turning them into nice brass fixtures, included some more windows on the hive and also some locks to lock the roof on. So just it's the same kind of thing, but improvements to help the beekeeper and the bees.
And the design, you put a lot of work into that because it almost looks like a little playhouse.
Yeah, and to me, aesthetics are important. And I think that was actually a big part of the success, was making it something that people felt really proud to have in their garden and to show off. And people really do like the look, and they end up putting nice oiled finishes on their hive, and they look after their hive. And somehow, when you put that attention into your hive, you also tend to tune in with it more, and you tend to look after your bees more, which is a wonderful thing.
Here we are in the midst of a pandemic. Are you seeing a lot more interest? I know home gardening is growing pretty fast.
We are. When the pandemic started, we thought, oh no, what are we going to do? How are we going to get through this? Then we thought, hang on, the sales are actually going up. And now we're making flow hives as fast as we can. We're lucky we're made in Australia because we can continue our production here, and we're not relying on offshore production. So that's meant we're able to continue production and continue shipping. So we've got containers on their way to the USA. We're back ordered at the moment. It's a bit like the beginning of where we started, where there's so many orders that people are now having to wait 3 or 4 weeks for their flow hive to arrive. But hopefully a couple of weeks will catch up on those back orders.
And besides building the flow hive, you're really dedicated to the cause. Tell us a little bit about that. The bee counting and World Bee Day is coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, World Bee Day is coming up, which is a great thing, and we've helped fund a project that is basically a citizen science project where people all around the world can join in, take photos of pollinators in their garden, whether it be honeybees or native bees or butterflies. And the idea is to create a data set and a map of where all of these species are. There's about 20,000 species of native bee in the world, and there's probably species we don't even know exist yet. So before we can save the bees, we need to know they're there. So the World Bee Count is a great project and something people can do when they're stuck at home in this lockdown time, to get out there with their family and take photos of pollinators. And it'll be a simple little app to download, which should be coming soon, at beescount.org.
And we know for years there have been stories about honeybee populations falling off. Are things improving?
So there's various different problems around the world, and is it improving? It depends where you pinpoint. Now, on a global scale, I would say no. The bees and all pollinators, for that matter, are in trouble. When you do things like spray a billion litres of insecticide on the Earth's surface and onto flowers each year, then obviously insects are going to suffer. So bees are no exception, and we certainly need to come up with different ways to do that part of our agriculture. And I'm working on a few things to solve some of those problems as well. So there's that, but there's also the other things like habitat loss, like even things like when bees can't get enough variety of pollen from flowers, then they get sick, just like us. If we ate one protein source every day, then we'd find we didn't have all the nutrients we need.
What should people know who are thinking about possibly trying this if they have no experience? Is it something the average person can do?
So about half of our 75,000 orders so far are brand new to beekeeping. So what we've done is produce a whole lot of training material, and there's lots of free material we've made, and I'm there every week on a Wednesday morning our time answering questions live for anybody who wants to get started in beekeeping. So we aim to help you get started, and we've also taken it a step further now and developed another program called thebeekeeper.org, which is a online bee course you can join. It's free to try, and there's input from people, experts all around the world into that program to make sure you get the information you need, and it's laid out in a sequential order. So it's a bit of a handhold, if you like, as you get started in beekeeping.
Well, tell us about the kind of investment that's needed. Where do your prices begin?
So they begin at just under the $600 mark, and then go right up to close to the $1,000 mark, depending on what features you want on your hive. We have basically various different sizes with different numbers of frames in them, which allow you to harvest the honey directly out of the hive, and also different wood types. And that's really what sets the different price points. We try to make hives available for everyone. So if money's tight, then you can choose one of the lower cost models.
And do you need a lot of room, a lot of property to do this? What should people know?
That's the amazing thing about beekeeping, is you can keep bees in a very small area. So the hive only takes up as big as the box is. So you find people keeping bees on their balconies in the city, on rooftops, in their urban backyards, out on farms. It's actually more about their flight path and making sure you're not pointing it so the bees are flying straight into your neighbour's washing line and things like that. Because, it's not so much about the space it takes up. The bees will fly out to a 6-mile radius foraging, so they'll go and find the flowers. But it's more about putting it somewhere sensible so that you're not going to bother anybody.
Really, really interesting. So for more information, where can people go?
If you go to honeyflow.com, there's a wealth of information there, and you can see lots of videos about how to get started. You can also, you'll find our YouTube channel there and our Facebook page, And also tune in on Wednesday morning AEST time, 10 o'clock, and you can ask me questions directly live on Facebook live stream.
And tell us what it's been like building this up with your father. I guess it's a pretty amazing experience.
Going from basically being an inventor, living and working in a shed, and living on the smell of an oily rag, basically. And actually, literally, I still run my car on old fish and chip oil from the chip shop. But so going from that kind of mentality of basically collecting things from beside the road on trash day and using those to help build a workshop and invent, to running a company of this size, having 45 employees basically overnight, and having to manage that whole system was incredibly exciting and incredibly overwhelming. So basically, it was one big ride, and it's still going.
And I guess we could say it's been sweet.
Yeah, that's right. One sweet ride, and I've had 2 children in the midst of it as well.
Terrific. Well, again, the website is honeyflow.com. Cedar Anderson, thank you so much for taking the time with us, and stay healthy.
Thank you. Stay well.
Cooking with the power of the sun. Hi, I'm Fred Fishkin, here to tell you about the latest innovation from my friend Patrick Sherwin and his great team at GoSun Stove. The GoSun Fusion has arrived using the company's tried and true reflectors and a solar vacuum tube to get you cooking without the mess of charcoal, heavy propane tanks, or smoke. A really bright idea. And with an optional solar panel and battery storage and the ability to plug in at home or on the road, you really can use the GoSun Fusion to cook anytime and anywhere, day or night, rain or shine. I love what Patrick and his team are doing, and so will you. Want to learn more? Head to gosun.co to check out all of the company's products and innovations, and use the code Techstination to save 10%. That's gosun.co.